Welcome, and thank you all for joining us for this episode of the Crexi Podcast, an insider's look at all things commercial real estate. In this show, we cover a broad range of topics that cater to CRE newcomers and industry leaders alike. I'm your host, Shanti Ryle, Director of Content Marketing here at Crexi, and today we are thrilled to sit down with Dave Ebeling, owner of Ebeling Communications. Dave, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you here. For those who don't know, Crexi and Dave have worked together for, definitely over 5 years at this point. And you are a master of commercial real estate, PR, and communications. So for those of you who don't know you, you're very well known and regarded and recognized in this industry. But for those who don't know you, can you give us a little bit of your story?
Sure. Been doing commercial real estate PR for over 25, 26, 27 years, since 1998. I'm a one-person shop solely focused on the commercial real estate industry, working with owners, developers, brokers, tech firms, pretty much everybody who touches commercial real estate.
Amazing. And how did you get into commercial real estate? You know, you had, we've talked about this in the past off camera, how you've had an interesting path about starting in public relations, but what brought you there and then what eventually brought you to the CRE space?
Yeah, so I mean, even to take a step back before getting into this, I was sort of that C student in high school and in college, had no idea what I wanted to do in my life. And in the end, it took me 9 years to graduate because I was bouncing from major to major to major, but took a public relations class in college with a publicist that was in the entertainment industry. And also, secondly, another class with a writer from People magazine where I became excited and interested in public relations. And I will say the rest is history. From then, out of college, I took a job at an agency pitching tractors and tools. And for the first 2 years as an internship and then as a sort of junior account executive. And like boys and their toys, I loved talking tractors and tools and getting my hands dirty and digging up dirt and things like that. But I knew sort of in my early days that my mentors had taught me, you know what, keep looking for your next job. Keep looking until you find your dream job. Keep looking for your dream job. So I was always looking around. Came across a job opening with a PR agency that specialized in commercial real estate. Knowing nothing about the commercial real estate industry, took a chance, got hired, and started to learn the commercial real estate industry, which has its own language and is tough to comprehend for a layperson. And to be honest, took me 2 years to understand the acronyms, the different words, the business, and things like that. So that sort of was my sort of entrance into commercial real estate.
Sure. Yeah, you had to dive into the deep end, not really knowing what was what, and by osmosis, it sounds like, did a lot of learning on the job. Can you share with us a story maybe from those first 2 years that you think had a really big impact on your career after that point?
Yeah, I mean, I had great mentors, and I know we'll talk about mentors later on, but I had the opportunity to pitch media for the first time in my life. And when I got my first cover story for a company called Legacy Partners up in Northern California, and it was on the cover of Commercial Property News, now Commercial Property Executive. When I saw that, and when I started sharing it with my colleagues and went through the whole process, I was in celebration mode. And I realized that as much as the marketing, the advertising, the different facets of public relations, I realized that I was hooked on media relations because it brought such joy and excitement to me where I wanted to do more. And again, I still have that passion to this day. And I have thanked the reporter and the editor numerous times over the years because if it wasn't for that story, I wouldn't be where I was today. And I
Sure.
wouldn't have sort of found my path in commercial real estate PR.
Yeah. I'm curious just to double click, as they say,
Yeah.
on that specific
Yeah.
experience. What were the set of challenges or obstacles you had to overcome to get that story onto the cover of that magazine? And why do you think it had such a profound impact on you?
Well, it's the chase. It's and I don't fish, but it's like trying to catch a fish. I mean, you're out there for hours and hours and hoping somebody bites. I mean, every public relations person, even to this day, is pitching story after story, idea story. I mean, every single day to a multitude of reporters. And when I finally had that reporter call me back and say, "I like this idea. Let's move forward." And as I said, I had sent hundreds of pitches out. You realize, oh my gosh, all that effort, all that hard work, all that prep was worth it. Um, I mean, success comes at a small percentage in public relations. Even today, it's sort of like a baseball player. I mean, if they hit the ball, if they get a base hit 1 out of 3 times, 30% of the times, they're a Hall of Famer. And it's similar to public relations. You have to keep pitching.
Literally.
Yeah, I mean,
Literally pitching.
you have to keep pitching. You have to keep trying. You have to keep trying other ideas. But to me, there is no other feeling when a reporter says, "I like your idea. Let's do a story. Can we get your clients on the phone for an interview, or can we get your clients to do an in-person interview? I want to do a story on them."
Totally. Yeah, it's the thrill of landing
Mm-hmm.
that hit, landing
Yeah.
that into
Yeah.
to a relationship after the fact, because now that reporter
Yeah.
knows you've got
Right.
good stories
Right.
for them. So totally makes sense how that's so appealing to you. So you mentioned mentors.
Yeah.
Who are one or two or more that stand out to you, and what do you think is the most impactful lesson or lessons that they imparted on you early or even later on in your career?
Yeah. I mean, Jessica Spalding, who was at this agency when I first started, Amy's Communications, sort of took me under her wings. And I was sort of her junior account executive working on a multitude of accounts. But we'd always sit around and talk. And she was never shy in terms of teaching me and helping me learn. And to this day, Jessica's a friend, a colleague, somebody who's still in the industry, somebody who I see probably a half a dozen times a year at different events, somebody who I call on these days and say, "Hey, what do you think on this?" And she doesn't like me calling her my mentor, but because she's a friend, and started learning from her and others at Amy's Communications. Those 4 years was so invaluable. Um, and again, it was all about sort of learning about the commercial real estate industry and learning about public relations and media relations from her and from everybody else. Secondly, and from from Amy's Communications, I went to Sperry Van S, SVN,
Mhm.
because after I got my cover story, I'm like, okay, I found my calling, I found my passion. Where can I go to sort of grow as a person? And Sperry Van S at the time, SVN, was looking for was growing and looking to have a bigger PR presence, and they just hired a new marketing director, and they're expanding like crazy. And they had an opening for a position where I went in for an interview, and they're like, "We just want you to get us press everywhere. We're not going to turn it down. We want the press. We're going to give you the resources. We're going to give you the team. We're going to give you the support." And so when I went over there after getting that job, um, David Frost was the president, and Sandra Solani was the VP of marketing, who basically left me alone and basically said, "Hey, we're here for you, but do what you have to do to get us as much press as you can."
Mhm.
And from day one, every single article that I got, I would honestly run down the hallway and high five David Frost. or give Sandra a hug.
Yeah.
And seeing their excitement from my excitement made me wanted to do more.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, I mean, for 4 years when I was there, was just it was amazing because and we did such great work. I think we were doing call it 15 to 20 interviews a month.
Wow.
I mean, they grew from call it 10 markets in the US to 150 markets, and I was doing press from Wall Street Journal down to the Charlotte Business Journal and everywhere in between.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just able to do what I love doing.
Mm.
So again, Jessica in the beginning and still today, David Frosch, who's actually moved on to other companies and is currently a client, and Sandra, who is a marketing consultant and has written a couple marketing books and branding books, and who I still call on a regular basis just to touch base. And with regards to mentors overall, I mean to me these are mentors, but throughout my entire career, it's connections. It's growing that list of connections where I can call and pick up the phone to any number of people
Mm-hmm.
and pick their brain. We can talk shop and we can just talk about the industry and help each other sort of solve problems.
Absolutely. Two great takeaways I heard were, first of all, do what you love what you do, which I
Mhm.
believe is the sign off on your email signature,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I had to call that out.
yeah.
And yeah, it's just all in the people,
Mhm.
and I think the positions you put yourself in, how hard you hustle, how hard you work, and a lot of that is informed by the passion that you
Yeah.
have too. But it helps to work with great people, and it sounds like you've had great people in your life to
Amazing
work
people,
with.
and I continue to meet amazing people every day. I
Mhm.
mean the commercial real estate industry is filled with, to me, the most amazing people in the world. And I mean, my goal every year, every day, every week is to meet more people,
Mhm.
develop more relationships, because this industry is so amazing.
Mhm.
So,
Absolutely. So after almost a 30-year career in
mhm.
commercial real estate PR, I would love to know, how has your perspective on it shifted? Obviously, a lot of changes with the proliferation of the internet. Now we have AI getting thrown into the mix. Um, traditional media is getting shaken up, moving a lot more online, a lot less print. There's all sorts of changes happening. From your purview, what do you think are the most important shifts? How have they shifted? And, you know, if there's a moment that jumps out at you, do you think there was ever a moment during your career that you were maybe ahead of the 8 ball in terms of how things were shifting?
Yeah, well, and I'll take that last question first, which
Sure.
is when I got into the industry, it was all about helping your clients out,
Mm,
helping your paying clients out. How are you going to bill time? Where's your time? Who are you billable to? But what I learned early on, and it helped that I sort of didn't have to track time at Sperry Van Ness, was that media are my clients as well.
hmm,
Media is a more important client than my own clients can be at times. And it's because while I'm not getting paid for them, if I keep them happy, or if I make them happy by delivering sources to them, delivering story ideas to them, delivering news ideas to them, they're going to keep coming back to me.
mhm,
And I will stop what I'm doing if I ever get a phone call, a text, an email from a reporter.
hmm,
Um, Even when I go on vacation, I'm constantly monitoring my phone, not for my client emails because they know I'm taking breaks, but from reporters.
hmm.
I mean, when I did a trip to Italy 2 or 3 years ago, I responded to basically one email, and it was a reporter from Wall Street Journal that needed a source.
Mhm,
And my family was understanding, but I stopped what was doing and hooked up that reporter because
hmm,
a reporter's mindset is always being hounded by their editors, typically,
hmm.
trying to finish a story. And I one time had a reporter tell me for every 25 calls that they make, 5 people return their call.
Really?
I want to be that person that never happens to.
Sure.
I mean, so it doesn't mean I mean, don't take a vacation. Means, again, media are my clients as much as my clients are. My clients pay me,
Mhm.
but the media, my connections in the media provide incredible value.
Totally.
Um, and now back to the AI topic, and I've had a lot of conversations about this. I've had a lot of talk, and I've had some people say, I've had reporters tell me that AI is gonna cause the disappearance of public relations people.
Hmm.
I've had people say that it's going to change public relations.
Hmm.
I will argue till I'm blue in the face that AI will never replace the value of the relationships that I have with the media.
Hmm.
They can't replicate the friendships, the business relationships with that I've developed over 26, 27 years.
Hmm.
They're the relationships I have with media are as deep as I have with some of my family and my friends.
Hmm.
We've laughed together, we've cried together, we've shared food together, we've talked family together. I've helped them out with stories when they were getting hounded by their editor. I've helped them out when we were all stressed and going through a crisis like COVID or
Hmm.
the LA fires. Um, those relationships are deep,
Hmm.
and it's taken a long time to develop them, nurture them. But I owe it to the media and my relationships for where I am today.
Hmm.
And so to me, AI is never going to replace that. Can AI write a pitch? Yep, but they won't have my personality, won't have my relationship that I have if I develop my own pitch.
Absolutely.
So,
No, I really appreciate that. It's a similar argument to be made for the commercial real estate industry at large,
mhm,
which is AI can do a lot of work for you. It can research, it can write a draft, it can, cold call
yeah,
even.
yeah,
But at the end of the day, this is a lot of money moving on trust,
yeah.
essentially. So the trust is that key component. And it sounds like that's really what, differentiates you and any good PR
It's a
expert.
relationship business.
Yeah.
It is a relationship business, and again, it's everybody trying to be successful. And again, AI, any sort of technology, X and LinkedIn, they can't replace good old fashioned pitching,
Hmm.
good old fashioned relationships, good old fashioned news. It can't.
Hmm. Yeah. And, kind of touching on that,
Hmm.
the heart behind PR, I'd love to dive a little bit more into why PR is so important, especially in commercial real estate. So, why, from your perspective, is it so essential? Why should it be a key component to any commercial real estate company's marketing strategy? And how does doing PR for commercial real estate differentiate from other sectors?
Yeah, well, I think it's similar to other sectors, except for the fact you can't kick and touch commercial real estate. A lease, a sale, a development does not have horsepower, does not have a transmission like a tractor does. It's a transaction.
Hmm.
It is a development, and that's what took me several months to try to understand, going from pitching tractors and tools that I can physically touch and feel and see the differences between two tractors, two hand saws compared to a building, a transaction.
Hmm.
Um, and the reason it's important is um, PR is a third party endorsement of your news. And it's a pretty simple equation in that every reporter probably gets anywhere from a couple hundred to a couple thousand press releases, pitches every single week, every single month. they have sources. They have choices of what to cover. If a reporter chooses to cover your news or chooses to interview you for their story when they have hundreds of sources to interview, it is them that is saying your news is more important than the other 900, 1,000 pitches, story ideas. It is them saying it. Anybody can take out an ad and talk about a lease that was signed, a sale that was done, a development that's going on. But if a reporter chooses to write about your news, to interview you as one of 5 sources when they have a list of 300 sources they could talk to, it is them saying that you're important to the industry and to the readership. And that's pretty simple. And that's why it's sort of my job to convince the media of that importance, whether it's news, whether it's them as a source, whether it's a byline article that they've written, whatever. It's my job through my relationships and through the writing to convince them that it's important to their readership.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just on the topic of a third-party endorsement of your company or your news. So where does that kind of third-party endorsement fit into the funnel process, right? I mean, I'm a marketing person myself, so I know how important PR is. But I'd love to hear your insights on, what is the tangible ROI of that endorsement that you've seen?
It's interesting because I've had clients and former employers say we can't see public relations on a spreadsheet because public relations is not going to make the phone ring. But what it's going to do is turn a cold call into a warm lead, into a hot lead, and it's going to allow your company to become familiar to your audiences. I've heard countless occasions when clients have gone to meet with a prospect that they wanted to work with, and that prospect said, "Oh, I read your quotes in the newspaper the other day," or I've seen your company in the news. You guys must be pretty big time. You guys must be important.
Yeah.
And it's really what it does. It grows awareness of your company. And I had a client long ago, and I don't even remember who said it, but they said repetition is the key to learning. The more your name is out there, the more people are going to become familiar with your brand, and the more you can grow get your brand out there in the press through public relations, the more likely that somebody's going to take your call or give you a meeting or hire you to do a project or hire your services or pay for your services. It really is a matter of helping you grow awareness, and it's part of the entire sort of marketing sphere. It is a form of marketing that complements other avenues of marketing.
Yeah. You mentioned it's hard to track PR on a spreadsheet. What other misconceptions do people often have about PR that you think, if they understood it, it would absolutely make sense for them to onboard it into their strategy?
I think a lot of people think that one is it's going to make the phone ring, which we already talked about. But two is that it's easy just to call up a reporter and say, "I want you to do a story." I have clients all the time that say, "Can't you just call Bloomberg or LA Times or whatever? Won't they do a story?" But it's not that simple. I have the best relationships in the world with media, but I also tell clients all the time, look, my media is not going to care about that news, that research paper, that announcement. Every reporter sort of has parameters or what they want to write about, they've been told to write about, whatever. And you have to position your news, your pitch, your byline article to what they want. And again, the greatest PR people in the world can't call any reporter that they've had a relationship with and get a story automatically. It's
Mhm.
not that simple.
Yeah, they're beholden to their editors, their
Yeah.
editorial calendar, uh, just the timeliness of current events, what's going on
Yeah.
in the world, and yeah, they have to be able to speak
I
to
fail
those
more than I
things.
succeed. And if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it.
Mhm.
And it's just not that simple. So when I take on a client, I really make sure that they understand, one, the value of PR, two, how difficult it is. Um, and we make sure that there is a meeting of the minds in terms of expectations,
Mm.
because every announcement, every pitch is not going to automatically get 4, 5, 6, 8 articles.
Mhm.
It's not. Like you said, it depends on the news cycle. It depends on the day in terms of what else is going on. It depends on their family life.
Sure.
Depends on budgets. I mean, a lot of reporters are getting laid off these days because advertising dollars aren't there. So
Mm.
there's so many factors. And as much as I think I know what media are thinking, every day is different.
Yeah.
And nobody knows what's going on in any reporters' lives.
Yeah.
Just like nobody knows what's going on in my life or your life. It's just different. So
Yeah. You raise an interesting point with, reporters getting increasingly impacted
mhm,
by media company downsizing. At the same time, I hate to say fake news, but
mhm,
there's a lot of mistrust about, I guess, some, maybe not all, traditional media outlets. There's a growing amount of more niche media
mhm.
outlets out there now. So, how, from your perspective, does someone coming into the world of PR, how does a company who's looking to lean into PR navigate that shifting landscape?
Well, one is, and I had this conversation with a PR colleague this morning, which is I value the small outlets as much as I do the big outlets.
Mm.
And it's important as PR professionals to continue to uncover and develop those relationships and understand those small media outlets, and every media outlet, whether it's a blog, whether it's an online publication, whether it's an internal newsletter that a company is doing,
Mm.
whether it's a national publication, because what that does is any article, no matter what you get, is another marketing tool
Mm.
for you to share with your audiences
Mhm.
on LinkedIn,
Mhm.
to your internal clients, to your internal company. I mean, and again, it doesn't matter the size. I mean, and again, I was discussing this with a colleague this morning. A publication that may only have a circulation of 1,500. By the time you post on, call it X or LinkedIn, and you share with your internal team, and they share with their databases, it could have gone from $1,500, a circulation of 1,500 to a circulation of 35,000
Mhm.
in a matter of minutes.
Mhm.
So PR is just another tool, another marketing tool, and I tell clients this all the time. I can get you all the press you want,
Mhm.
and usually satisfy your needs from a press standpoint. It's what you do with it that is going to sort of going to help you grow.
Mm.
Um, because as I said, there's a certain audience for that certain publication,
Yeah.
but there's a whole other world of an audience that you can sort of branch that out and reach out to.
Absolutely. I want to touch on honesty
Mm-hmm.
before we get into more tactical, practical
Mm-hmm.
conversations. So, in PR, the press that you get is your company's reputation.
Mm-hmm.
So, as much as every business would love to be featured in an article that's just glowing, complimentary, features them really well, that's not always the case.
Right.
It's a journalist's job to
Right.
be truthful
Right.
and factual. So, how do you think honesty plays into PR? How can companies lean into honesty as part of their PR strategy? How have you seen them succeed? Maybe how have you seen them maybe even recover after some bad press? Give me some of your thoughts there.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a big topic lately, and probably in the last 4 or 5 years, called post-COVID, as we've sort of seen the end of a commercial real estate cycle, where I have some people that basically say, look, the industry's too ugly out right there right now. We're all struggling. I don't want to talk. But but my sort of rebuttal to that is just be honest with a reporter. Reporters know typically what the answer to their questions are. They're just looking for somebody to say it. And sort of being upfront, being honest, and sort of showing your passion for the industry goes a long way in that reporter calling back or covering your positive news. I mean, here's an example. I have a client who is a big retail landlord client, and call it nationally, but with a big focus in California. When COVID hit and all of his retailers at his center were shut down, he called me and said, Dave, we're going to get out in front of this. I want to make sure media know what it's like to be a landlord, what I'm doing about it, how I'm helping my small businesses, how I may not be as receptive to the larger companies that have access to capital, and what I'm doing to sort of save my company and recover and grow from this.
Sure.
So we probably did. I mean, my billings for this client were probably up 300% during COVID.
Wow.
Because he was one of the few landlords that went on the phone with a reporter that want to know what's it like to all of a sudden have to shut down all the retailers in your center and have them say, I can't pay my rent this month because I'm not getting any income. And how you have to realize it's a people business, and you feel for those people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he did not lay off anybody at his company, but he did not make any money, call it those 2020 or 2021. I mean, he realized that, you know what, that's okay. But if my employees recover and I'm able to sort of keep them all okay and happy, then it's okay to lose a little bit of money because we'll come back. And we did interviews left and right from LA to national media. But every interview he did, you can sort of hear it in his voice on how distraught he was about the situation that his tenants were in, and that his employees were in, and that the industry was in. So that's one example. And I mean, I think it's fair to say that everybody knows the overall office leasing market across the country, and every market is having its struggles.
Yes.
And media know that, but it's okay to say, you know what? Yes, our vacancies are high, but we're also working to uncover every possible tenant. We're working with our landlords to be a little flexible on rents, working with our landlords to make capital improvements. And you don't really have to hide from the reality when everybody is feeling the pain. Everybody is. I mean, companies are, landlords are, property management firms are. I mean, everybody is sort of feeling that. And you can either be sort of a leader in speaking out about it, or you can sort of go away and not be vocal and not be sort of that subject matter expert on it.
Yeah.
And there aren't a lot of companies out there that are sort of hitting it head on and positioning themselves as an expert, or that want to talk about it.
Yeah. It's wonderful that your client was in a position to do that and, had the foresight to have those conversations. I remember the early days of COVID. I actually got hired like the month before it started at Crexi. And in the early days, it was all just, let's get people on interviews and just ask them what the heck is going on. What do they see? How do they recommend responding? And, just having those dialogues was so important. I think post-COVID, we're in a world where those kinds of dialogues is even more important than they
Mhm.
were pre-COVID. Um, and so I really appreciate you illustrating that example because there's so much opportunity. As you said, there's not a lot of people taking advantage
Right.
of those conversations. So there's a lot of untapped opportunity in the media space for commercial real estate companies to take advantage of it.
And I will say that, I mean, that retail landlord, Sandy Siegel of Newmark, Merrill, over time and during this post-COVID time, he's always been a friend and a mentor,
Mhm.
but even more so now today.
Mm.
I mean, love Sandy to death. Think the world of him to death.
Mhm.
Um, I can call him, text him, email him anytime, and he's helped me out in different phases of my business. And to sort
Mhm.
of see the way that he handled COVID was just, it was amazing, and something I will never forget. And
Sure.
I'm sure it's something his employees will never forget. So, yeah.
Yeah. Mad props to Sandy.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's a really great segue into, getting more into the tactical, how
Mhm.
can companies start implementing these strategies into their business.
Yeah.
So, you said during COVID, all media wanted to do was talk about what the heck is going on. What are people feeling? What are you
Mm.
seeing? How are you responding? What are media looking for in commercial real estate today?
Yeah, in its simplest terms, in general, media are looking for deals to write about,
Mm.
development to write about, and that could be renovations, redevelopment, repositioning. Um, they're looking for to cover research. I mean, we've had conversations about Crexi's research,
Mhm.
and sort of tailor in a way that's going to get the most eyeballs from a media standpoint on. And I have this with all my clients that do research.
Mm.
I mean, there is research can be written in a way that is beneficial to your internal audiences or your audience on a marketing standpoint, but that may not resonate with media. So you sort of have to create research that fits to both audiences, or do two different versions.
Mm.
Um, and then every reporter is always looking for story ideas. I mean, a day doesn't go by when a reporter was like, calls me and asks me, Dave, what should I be covering that I'm not covering?
Hmm.
I mean, what are the latest trends out there? I mean, what should I be writing about? So it's constantly sort of picking the brain of your client and saying, what's new? I
Mhm.
mean, I mean, what's the latest trends that are happening?
Mhm.
I mean, my famous question that I love asking clients is, what keeps you up at night?
Hmm.
Because that's what media want to know. I mean, they don't want to know, to use this example, that data center investment is through the roof.
Yeah.
They want to.
Heard that.
We've
Been
all heard
there.
that.
Yeah.
That life science for the past several years in San Diego has been growing like crazy.
Mhm.
They want to know what's the new administration, how's the new administration going to impact your business.
Yeah.
They want to know what areas office tenants are gravitating these days.
Mhm.
Um, they want to know when the commercial real estate investment market's going to rebound and what's
Mhm.
going to change.
Mhm.
They want somebody to go out on a limb and
Hmm.
say something that others aren't saying,
Hmm.
and not sort of tout the company line.
Sure.
They want uniqueness. Um, and again, I mean, as a public relations professional, and I think this goes for everybody, is we have to challenge our clients to say something new, to say
Mhm.
something unique, because the way to stand out, for me to stand out, is to convey something that they believe that is unique.
Hmm.
I mean, we've all said about the retail industry that vacancies as tight as it's been, that there's more tenants out there looking than there is space.
Mhm.
But you know what? Tell me what's going to fix that.
Hmm.
Tell me that um, the political industry needs to change the rules for development. It needs to be easier to develop so we can get more supply there, and what it's going to take to get more supply on the retail side. Tell me that maybe some of these older industrial buildings are going to get converted to other uses. I mean, tell me something that is different than what's been written about for the past several months or that everybody's talking about.
Yeah.
That's what media want.
Yeah. Original
They want
thinking.
original. They want unique. They want something special.
How do you advise clients on leaning into that uniqueness? Where do you suggest they look? You said, what keeps you up at night? What are some exercises that
I mean,
a firm could
one
go
thing I
through?
love doing is sitting in on clients' internal meetings, because I can get an executive on the phone and say, "Hey, what's new? What trends are you tracking?" And sometimes it'll be crickets, or there just won't be very much insight. But I can go to an internal meeting where it's a roundtable among their executives,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just a fly on the wall,
Mm-hmm.
and I can come away with 5, 6, 7 ideas.
Yeah.
Because it's an internal conversation that they're having with their peers. I mean, I do this as much as I can with clients. It is so much more valuable than trying to sort of put them on the spotlight and say, what are you seeing out there in the market? What trends are? Just having a normal conversation with them, taking them out to lunch, and just talking about life, talking about family, talking about the industry. They're eventually going to open up. But sort of having that one-on-one call with 2 or 3 questions, it's just not as valuable as sort of being that fly on the wall.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Seeing the real conversations.
yeah,
What advice would you give a company that's maybe not sure about whether they wanted to adopt more clear PR strategies into their business? What would you want them to take away from this conversation, other than to call you?
no, I'd say just have conversations with experts in the industry. Talk to other people that are doing PR. I mean, talk to their peers, talk to their colleagues. But at the end of the day, do it for the right reason. Don't do it because your bosses tell you you have to do it. Again, this industry is filled with amazing companies and amazing people. And just talk to some of them. Talk to your friends in the industry and ask them if they do PR and what's worked for them, what hasn't worked with them. And see if what they're getting out of it is something that can benefit you. I mean, call a PR person. And I always say this, that, I will never turn down a call, a text, an email from anybody that wants to just chat about PR. I love educating this industry. And whether it's a professional in this industry, whether it's a college student looking to get into PR, whether it's a college student or a junior PR person that's looking to learn about commercial real estate PR, I will talk PR all day long till I'm blue in the face, just to educate them. I mean, I have, call it past clients, current clients, prospective clients that I talk with all the time, just to share sort of how the market is changing. And some aren't ready to hire me. Some are trying to figure out if they have budget. Some have another agency. But I'll talk this business anytime, anywhere, any place, because it educates the industry and it helps them. If they get away, if they leave a conversation with me after talking public relations and they feel a lot smarter about public relations, did my job. It's not about the money. I mean, I have 2 kids that are already through college, and I have one going through college right now. This industry's been great to me. Again, it's not about the money. It's about helping people out, giving back to this great industry.
It's all about the service and the people. Yeah.
It's the people.
Yeah. And before we move on to our rapid fire question segment, what advice would you give a young person who's looking into PR as a potential career avenue?
Talk with as many people as you can. I mean, it may not seem this way, but I was shy when I got out of college. They gave me that same advice. but you sort of have to get over the shyness and just send an email, make some calls and say, hey, I'm new to this industry. Any chance we can spend 10 minutes on the phone, or we can go to coffee, or we can go to lunch? Just learn as much as you can about it and figure out what path you want to go, because there's several paths. You can go to an agency, you can go internally, you can have your own shop. Learn from everybody. That's what I did. As I said, after I got over the shyness, I talked to as many people as possible, and I still do. There's a fit for everybody. Anybody who has an interest in PR, commercial real estate may be a fit, maybe it's not, but just talk to as many people as possible. I've recently, a few years ago, went and spoke to a couple classes in college just to sort of educate them on job prospects. And I'd love to do more if if I was able to sort of figure out how to sort of make those connections and do it, I'll do it. And it's not going to make me any more money. I don't care. I just love educating the commercial real estate industry, the PR industry, the marketing industry about this great industry that has been so good to me for so many years.
I love it. I love to hear that.
Yeah.
Since you know so much about the industry, this will be a fun little quick hit segment.
Yeah.
So I love ending these conversations with our rapid fire questions. So quick, shoot from the hip, give us a fast answer. You game?
I'm always game.
Okay.
Let's do it. I'm having fun. Why not? Let's just continue.
Yeah, why not, right?
Yeah.
If you had $50 million, someone gave it to you right now, and you had to invest it immediately, where would you park that money and why? In commercial real estate.
In commercial real estate. I think I'd say either data centers. I think data centers are going to continue to grow. I think there continues to be an energy shortage, and we're going to continue to hear that topic. But I love retail, and I used to go out on Black Friday with my kids when they were shopping at Tilly's and Nordstrom Rack and Justice in the Days, and
oh gosh,
and I would just talk to the retailers, and just see sort of what their mindset is, because retail has such an impact on everybody. And so I'd probably put money in retail somewhere. I just love the retail world, and I have several clients. I go out to see you guys out at ICSC Las Vegas every year, and it's my most favorite time of the world. And the way I describe it is, I get to see 20,000 of my closest friends.
Aww.
And it's colleagues, it's past reporters who are now marketing people, it's friends. It's when you're walking through that show and you're entrenched in the retail industry with so many people. You're seeing people up and down the escalator high-fiving them. You're giving hugs. You're seeing people and they're like, oh my God, I didn't know you come to this show. It is such an experience, and the retail industry is so amazing. Again, because it's got that consumer connection. As I said, I love it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Data centers, energy, and retail. Yeah. Sounds great. What is the craziest way you found a new client? That could be social media. That could be in the bathroom of a hotel lobby. Just any fun stories about prospecting.
It's interesting. And again, I'll keep reiterating that I'm a very shy person. I've never proactively done any marketing for my own business.
Wow.
100% of my business, of my clients, have come from referrals from other clients. Let's just call it 99%. I've had a few people that basically have Googled commercial real estate and public relations and found me that way. And I have a one-page site. And I do it just to sort of have a presence. Because I feel like I have to. But I don't really have any sort of crazy stories. It is, you do good work, people are going to find you. You develop a reputation, people are going to find you. I was at a conference last week, and an employee for one of my current clients walked up, saw my name badge, and said, "Oh my gosh, you're David Ebeling." She's like, "You're a celebrity in our office."
Oh, that's so fun.
And I was embarrassed. Told her she
Oh,
needs
yeah.
to find some other celebrities. And I basically said, look, I mean, I used this sort of as a teaching moment, and we
Mhm.
connected afterwards, which was I just try to do good work. And
Mhm.
but I told her, look, I'm always here for you. I mean, and she was, I don't even know what her role was at the company, but I'm like, if you ever need anything, just tell me. I
Mhm.
mean, just ask. Call me if you want to pick my brain about something. Call me if you have a challenge in your life, in your business. I mean, that's what I like to be remembered for. And but yeah, I mean, all my business. I mean, I started with one client from that was given to me by an agency who decided they wanted to make a change and they weren't the right fit.
Mm.
And from that client, went to 2 clients, to 3 clients, and knock on wood, I work with 15 to 20 to 25 clients on a project or retainer basis every day. And I wake up every morning trying to figure out who I'm going to get pressed for and who I'm going to meet. And I get excited every day.
Love that. That makes me so happy to hear. And
Yeah.
so, just kind of as we wrap up here,
Yeah.
any parting final words of advice that you would want our listeners to take away from this? Whether it's a CRE firm, whether it's a newcomer to PR, what's something you really want to leave our listeners with?
Again, I have an open door. I have an open phone. You guys have my contact information. Call me, text me, email me, run into me. You run into me in the grocery store. I will talk to you about PR until I'm blue in the face. I tell clients this all the time. I will share my knowledge as much or as little as you want.
Mm.
So I'm never going to turn down somebody who wants to learn about public relations or commercial real estate public relations.
Mhm.
Again, this industry continues to give me such joy, and I've learned so much from such amazing people, and and I just want to continue teaching others about it,
I love it.
so that we can grow for the next generation. So I'm always available, and whether or not my wife complains that I didn't make any money that day, it's okay.
You're like, I do it for me.
I mean, it's okay. I'm giving this is my next 10, 15 years is my opportunity to get back to the industry
Mm.
and continue giving back to the industry. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, Dave, thank you so much for sitting down with us. I really appreciate you coming all the way up to LA to sit down with us in person in the studio. Where can people find you? You mentioned your website. You said your email, phone number. Lay it on us.
Website is ebelingcom.com. So EBELINGCOMM.com.
Mm-hmm.
My personal cell phone is 949-278-7851. Those are probably the 2 easiest ways to reach out. My office phone is 949-861-8351. Again, this is a great industry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always available, and thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll talk PR all day long, and this has been amazing. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, really appreciate it. And thank you everyone who tuned in today. If you enjoyed this episode, please do not miss the next one. Visit crexi.com/podcast and sign up to get the next episode delivered straight to your inbox. You can also subscribe to the Crexi Podcast on your preferred podcast app or check out all of our video recordings on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much. Tune in next time.